The night before the Fong couple brought me home, Fong Jingqi led a group of thugs to corner me in an alley. He allowed them to tear my clothes and filmed an indecent video, threatening me to behave obediently, or else he would expose the footage, and everything he did was for the girl who was switched with me at birth. Fong Jingqi feared that my arrival would disrupt her life, so he seized my weakness in advance, ensuring I couldn't cause any trouble, even though Fong Jingqi didn't actually have to do anything. The entire Fong family was biased in her favor. No matter what she said, all three of them believed her unconditionally. So, if she fell, I was the one who pushed her. If she failed an exam, it was because my return affected her. If she shed a single tear, I was the one who made her cry. If she fell into a pond, it must have been my doing to get back at me for Fong Jingrong. Fong Jingqi released an indecent video, and in an instant, my reputation was hanging by a thread. To protect their family's reputation, the Fong family cut ties with me and kicked me out of the house in the middle of the night. As a result, I was dragged into an alley by a drunkard and tortured to death, living a second life. I'm embracing it. If I die, we all die kind of madness. Tong Nianchu, I suggest you behave and listen, or you'll suffer the consequences. The moment my back slammed into the wall, pain surged through my entire body. That familiar tone, laced with undisguised contempt. The suffocating feeling of near-death quickly dissipated because of these words, until consciousness returned. Only then did I realize I had been reborn, for thugs were pinning down my limbs before me, while Fong Jingqi stood to the side with one hand in his pocket, holding a phone aimed at me. I immediately realized that this was the day before I was recognized by the Fong family. Fong Jingqi had these 4 people corner me in the alley, all just to film an indecent video of me, and everything he did was for that fake heiress, Fong Jingrong, who was switched with me at birth. He was afraid that if I returned to the Fong family, I would take everything that belonged to Fong Jingrong. He was afraid I would use the guilt of Mr. and Mrs. Fong to force Fong Jingrong out. He was afraid that someone like me, who lived in the mud, would bully Fong Jingrong. He was afraid. He had 1,000 worries for Fong Jingrong, and naturally, 1,000 times more disgust for me. What does it matter if he humiliates me? He wishes I had never appeared, wishes he could crush me into the dust. To him, I am not the family member he painstakingly searched for, but a demon crawling out of the mud, trying to harm the sister he has cherished for over a decade. In my past life, after learning the reason, I begged him to delete the video, swearing I would never return to the Fong family or have any connection with them. But Fong Jingqi was not pleased at all. Instead, he slapped me directly and said, "Don't think you can play tricks. I know you're just pretending to retreat so Mom and Dad will force Rongrong out. Tong Nianchu, you are truly despicable. I'm warning you, you'd better behave yourself and stick to being the second daughter of the Fong family, but if you dare to covet anything else, I'll release this video and let Mom and Dad see what kind of person you really are. Let's see how you'll ever go to school again, take exams, or even try to make a place for yourself in society." From then on, whenever I did anything that didn't suit his wishes or upset Fong Jingrong, he would use this video to threaten me. I thought that once the college entrance exams were over, I could finally break free from the Fong family, but because I scored better than Fong Jingrong, which upset her, he directly released the video. Since it was a real name report from my own brother, everyone online believed it without a doubt. I went from being envied by everyone to being despised by all. Malicious speculations emerged one after another, and many so-called insiders appeared online, confirming the rumors of my chaotic personal life. My phone number was leaked, and I received all kinds of insults and harassing calls every day. To salvage their reputation, the Fong family publicly announced their severance of ties with me and drove me out of the Fong household late at night, penniless and with my phone smashed. I couldn't hail a taxi and had no choice but to walk slowly but unexpectedly, just after leaving the affluent neighborhood, I was dragged into an alley by a drunkard, where I was abused and killed. Now, with a chance to start over, I will definitely drag Fong Jingqi down into the abyss with me. Thinking this way, I gave up my futile struggle, only staring fixedly at Fong Jingqi. He was right. My struggle would only bring more brutal punches and kicks, and might even arouse their sadistic interest. Staying still and obedient would actually prevent any real harm. I wanted to see how Fong Jingqi could just stand by and watch his own blood-related sister being stripped of her clothes right in front of him. I suddenly gave up struggling. The blonde-haired guy sneered. "Oh, I thought you were some kind of chaste and virtuous woman, giving in so quickly." I swept a cold gaze over each of them. "I've memorized all of your faces. Either kill me today, otherwise, I will definitely call the police, and none of you will get away." Fong Jingqi frowned, clearly displeased with my refusal to recognize the situation. The blonde-haired guy's hand, which had been unbuttoning my shirt, paused, then he slapped me directly across the face and spoke disdainfully. "Do you even know who you've offended, and you still dare to call the police? If you have *King dare to call the police, I'll post the video online and let everyone see what a slut you look like, then you better make sure to post it online." Spreading illegal videos is a crime, illiterate. Perhaps my expression was too indifferent, or perhaps my gaze was too icy. The punk was clearly intimidated by me, a hint of panic flashing in his eyes. Then he suddenly realized he had been intimidated by me, and slapped me again, stubbornly saying, "Who are you trying to scare? Think I'm afraid?" He's not afraid, but that doesn't mean others aren't. The man gripping my right wrist hesitated. "Brother Chi, we're just here to teach her a lesson." "Maybe we should." Fong Jingqi immediately frowned, casting a cold glance his way. The blonde-haired guy also kicked out angrily, scolding, "Useless." Probably seeing these guys back down, Fong Jingqi felt he'd lost face, and his gaze toward me grew increasingly hostile. Fong Jingqi looked down at me with a contemptuous sneer. "Tong Yanchu, I can make a move on you anytime I want. I have plenty of ways to make your life a living hell, and even if you call the police, it won't do you any good." I mimicked his tone with a scornful laugh. "Oh, really? You think you're some kind of all-powerful rich kid who can challenge the state's authority? You're nothing but a cowardly bully who only picks on the weak and fears the strong, a complete scumbag." Fong Jingqi's face darkened. He put away his phone, stepped forward, and slapped me twice. Then he forcefully pinched my chin, his tone icy. "Tong Yanchu, you really are an ill-bred wretch. I don't care about blood ties, so I will never acknowledge you. You only deserve to live like a filthy rat in the gutter. Today is just a heads up. We'll be seeing each other again. I'll make you regret ever being alive in this world." With that, Fong Jingqi released his grip and turned to leave. As soon as he left, the yellow-haired guys automatically let go of me. While they turned their backs, I tousled my hair, tore open the collar of my shirt, ripped my pants, and then pulled out a broken table leg from the side. This was a back alley in a residential complex, a dead end with no surveillance cameras, cluttered with discarded furniture and appliances. I had to thank them for bringing me here. The lack of cameras meant not only that their actions would go unseen, but also that mine would remain unknown. I rushed forward and kicked Fong Jingqi in the back, sending him stumbling forward before he crashed to his knees with a thud. While the blonde and his crew were still dazed, I swung a stick and struck Fong Jingqi on the head. In my past life, I always thought Fong Jingqi was cruel in what he said to me, cruel in what he did to me. But now I think he was too naive, even after I warned and threatened him like that. He only gave me 2 slaps. I wouldn't just return 2 slaps. I'm afraid my hands would hurt. After delivering the sneak attack, Fong Jingqi immediately passed out. The yellow-haired guy and his crew seemed to snap out of it only then. Lunging to grab me, I screamed for help, then swung the stick a few times and dashed toward the alley exit. There's a barbecue street nearby. I was originally going to pick up my brother from work, but I never expected to be intercepted by them halfway. In my past life, after begging Fong Jingqi to delete the video failed, my first thought was to go find my brother for help, yet misfortune never comes alone. I arrived just in time to see my brother being hit on the head with a glass bottle, and later he became a vegetable. In my previous life, the reason I always obeyed Fong Jingqi and kept a low profile in the Fong family was not only because of the video but also because the Fong family could cover all the medical expenses for my brother's treatment. So when the Fong family came to take me back, I didn't refuse. Because of this, I was mocked by Fong Jingqi, especially since I had just said the night before that I would never have anything to do with the Fong family. Fong Jingqi didn't care what reasons I had. He was convinced that I was just after the Fong family's wealth and luxury, certain that I was a hypocritical villain, and he disliked me even more. After my death, the Fong family would definitely stop paying for my brother's treatment. I wonder if he ever woke up, but that doesn't matter now. I won't let him lie alone in that hospital bed anymore. In this life, I didn't get too entangled with them, so there's definitely still enough time. Sure enough, by the time I arrived, the 2 sides had just started to clash. I rushed over, striking the leader of the men on the back with a stick, and shouted, "Fong family's lackeys, you've already harmed me, isn't that enough? Now you want to harm my brother too." Choo-choo. My collar was open, revealing the clothes underneath. My hair was disheveled, my cheek bore the mark of a slap, and my pants had been torn. Anyone with eyes could see that something was wrong with this scene. How much did Fong Jingqi pay you to pretend to be drunk and cause trouble, to stop my brother, and let them do such beastly things to me? I'm not even an adult yet. This heart-wrenching cry made the onlookers turn their gaze toward the troublemakers, and their expressions immediately changed. Choo-choo, what happened? Tong Yanming rushed over, shielding me behind him, and asked urgently. When I took his hand, I deliberately tapped his palm twice, and he immediately understood I was acting. The troublemakers were quickly restrained by the helpful bystanders, and the police arrived soon after. A police officer quickly assessed the situation and sent a policewoman to take me to the hospital for a checkup. I glanced at the many phones recording in the crowd, then got into the car with a heavy heart. In the car, I recounted the entire incident step by step. Upon hearing that I hadn't been assaulted, Tang Yanming and the policewoman both breathed a sigh of relief. When she heard that I was terrified because I had hit Fang Jingqi with a stick, the police officer immediately comforted me. "You didn't do anything wrong, you were just acting in self-defense." But Fang Jingqi said he could easily kill me, and even if I called the police, it wouldn't help. Nonsense. As long as you are a citizen of our country, you must abide by the law. They also recorded a video and said if I didn't obey, they would post it online. "Don't worry, we'll make sure he deletes the video right in front of you." The police officer comforted me all the way, while Tang Yanming held me close, his face ashen. But before understanding the situation, he didn't dare to interrupt rashly. "This is my family. Even when they don't fully understand the situation, they'll stand by my side unconditionally. I already have such a wonderful brother who would care about Fang Jingqi." At the hospital, just to be safe, the police officer had me undergo a series of examinations. While waiting for the report, the police officer left the ward to make a phone call. I gave Tang Yanming a meaningful look, and he immediately closed the ward door. I know he has many questions he wants to ask, but right now, I still need to add fuel to the fire of today's events. In my past life, though I was not favored in the Fang family, I still learned many things I had never known before. For example, behind some marketing accounts on the internet are mysterious big shots that even the Fang family cannot shake. I immediately edited a long paragraph about what had just happened and sent it over. Just the 3 words #FangJingqi# were enough to attract attention. Sure enough, the other party was very interested. I then mentioned that behind this incident was the story of the Fang family's real and fake heiresses, and I even included the hospital address. Just as the deal was settled, Tang Yanming cleared his throat, and I quickly deleted the chat history and put away my phone. The policewoman pushed the door open and said that the police had already checked the alley I mentioned and had found information about Fang Jingqi. After I beat him up, he was immediately taken to the hospital by the yellow-haired guy and his friends. What a coincidence! It was the very same hospital. After comforting me with a few more words, the policewoman left. I wasn't the least bit worried about the follow-up arrest, since the evidence was right there in Fang Jingqi's phone. After everyone had left, Tang Yanming sat down by the hospital bed and asked, "What on earth happened?" Tang Yanming and I had been siblings for over a decade, and I couldn't hide anything from him, so I told him directly about being reborn, because I knew, no matter how unbelievable the things I said might be, Tang Yanming would trust me unconditionally, just like how the Fang family trusted Fang Jingrong unconditionally. So I've always been very clear in my heart, the Fang family are not my family. My family is only Tang Yanming, Tang Yanchu. Are you stupid? When others insult you, you don't insult them back. When others hit you, you don't hit them back. But you weren't here, and I couldn't beat them anyway. Tang Yanming's eyes immediately reddened. He pulled me into his arms, his voice full of guilt. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been lying in a hospital bed. I should have protected Choo-Choo. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Choo-Choo did nothing wrong. It's all my fault." Sob. Tang Yanming's voice gradually choked up, then he began to sob softly, until he was completely overcome with tears. "Our Choo-Choo, how could you have suffered so much injustice? How scared you must have been when you were dragged into that alley. Why wasn't I there? Why was I lying in a hospital bed, unable to move? Woo-woo Choo-Choo, I'm sorry. It's my fault for not protecting you." Woo-woo, don't be fooled by Tang Yanming's outwardly cool demeanor. Only I know he's actually a crybaby. When I fell as a child from running too fast, he would cry. When I fell off my bike, he would cry. When I got first place in an exam, he would cry. The last time Tang Yanming cried like this was when our parents passed away. Back then, he held me just like this, sobbing and swearing that he would take good care of me. The next day, he went to school to apply for a leave of absence, saying he would return to his studies once I got into university, but I saw that he had actually applied for withdrawal. He stopped going to school so he could support my education. Clearly, his grades were far better than mine, but he said, as the older brother, how could he let his younger sister suffer? Yet we aren't even related by blood. Both Tang Yanming and I were orphans from unknown origins, adopted by the Tong couple since childhood. The Tong couple said they originally had a son, but he was later abducted by human traffickers. They searched for many years and dared not move, fearing that if they relocated, their biological son would not be able to find his way home. 20 years ago, they found a baby boy at the very spot where their own son had gone missing. Since they couldn't find the baby boy's family, they sent him to an orphanage, but a week later, they adopted the baby boy and named him Tang Yanming. Perhaps it was fate. 3 years later, they found a baby girl in the same place, and that was me. The elderly couple who had lost their son and we who had been abandoned by our parents became a family, and so we lived for over a decade. A year ago, the elderly couple passed away one after another, and Tong Yanming and I used all the money from the Tong family to arrange their funerals. We lost our parents once again, but we still had family. If Feng Jingqi hadn't pulled such a stunt in my past life, I would never have agreed to return to the Feng family. There's one thing Feng Jingqi said that I quite agree with. I don't care about blood ties. The only brother I recognize is Tong Yanming, so I won't hide anything from him. We'll walk the path ahead together. That marketing account first posted about Feng Jingqi cornering me with a group of people, and then led others to speculate about the truth behind it. After a night of spreading, everyone online was guessing, and the topic remained highly popular. My family background with Tong Yanming was naturally investigated thoroughly, and so-called insiders also exposed the fact that the Feng family had recently conducted 2 paternity tests. In no time, discussions about the real and fake heiresses began sprouting up like mushrooms after rain. I estimated that the Feng family would likely come to the hospital soon. Sure enough, Hu Hongmei arrived at the hospital with 2 bodyguards. She rubbed the corner of her eye, and in an instant, her eyes turned red. "Choo-choo, my daughter, I've finally found you." Fortunately, I dodged to the side just in time, avoiding Hu Hongmei's embrace. Otherwise, I was truly afraid that the moment she hugged me, I would have slapped her right across the face. Tong Yanming tipped 2 steps toward me, shielding me behind him as he looked at Hu Hongmei with a gaze full of vigilance. I watched the teary-eyed woman with a cold heart, my brow slightly furrowed. "My parents died long ago. Are you here to ride the wave of attention?" Hu Hongmei had always prided herself on being a wealthy lady, holding herself in high regard. In my past life, when I returned to the Feng family, her eyes held not only dissatisfaction but also a hint of disappointment. Perhaps my appearance was a world apart from what she had imagined, and even more so from the fake daughter she had raised with her own hands. The initial trace of guilt she felt toward me had long since vanished, and whenever she faced me, she was always filled with impatience and disdain. I think she probably regretted bringing me back to be an eyesore and, for no reason, giving others a good laugh. Such a prideful person, never thought she'd stoop to acting for Feng Jingqi's sake. Perhaps my gaze was too cold, for Hu Hongmei quickly explained, "Choo-choo, I am your mother. There's a paternity test result." As she spoke, Hu Hongmei handed over a copy of the test report. "I really am your biological mother. The police have seen this report too. It's all genuine. Of course I know this report is genuine. But as long as I don't acknowledge it, it's meaningless. I don't believe this. If you really are my mother, then hire me a lawyer. I want Feng Jingqi sent to prison." Hu Hongmei's face instantly changed, and she waved her hands anxiously. "No, we can't let Xiaoqi go to prison. You know him. He's your brother. It's all a misunderstanding." I sneered and threw the paternity test report in Hu Hongmei's face. No wonder a so-called birth mother suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Turns out it was all to get her son off the hook. Your Feng family sure goes all out to save your son. You'd even pretend to be my mother and try to turn this into a family matter. Well, let me tell you, dream on. Hu Hongmei grew frantic. "How can you say that? I really am your birth mother. Xiaoqi is your own brother. You can't let him go to jail." I pointed to my own swollen face. "This is what Feng Jingqi did. Someone like Feng Jingqi, who disregards the law and commits evil deeds, deserves to go to jail. How can you say that about your brother? You share a blood bond." Xiaoqi just had a momentary lapse in judgment. "I'll make him apologize to you later." "I don't need his apology. I just need him to go to jail." "You." Hu Hongmei tried to step forward and grab me, but Tong Yanming swung his arm to block her, standing between us. "There's no need for any more tricks. What Feng Jingqi did to my sister, our family will not let this go." "What do you mean your sister?" "The only brother Choo-choo has is Jingqi. Choo-choo and I are on the same household register. I am her only family. Please leave." Tong Yanming, standing at a towering height of 9 meters, exuded an overwhelming presence, forcing Hu Hongmei to retreat step by step. My hospital room was just an ordinary ward, although I was the only patient in the room at the moment. The hallway outside was bustling with people coming and going. Hu Hongmei, accompanied by 2 bodyguards, immediately drew a crowd of onlookers as soon as she appeared. A few people even followed her into the hospital room to watch. Seeing their employer being forced to retreat, the 2 bodyguards immediately closed in, fearing that Tong Yanming might suffer. I instantly switched to a pitiful, emotional tone. "Your son didn't hesitate to spread malicious rumors to ruin me, and now you want to harm my brother in public too." The Feng family may be powerful and influential, but we ordinary people can't afford to provoke them. However, the law is not to be trifled with. I will never acknowledge a Thief is my mother. If Fang Jingqi dares to threaten me like this, he must be threatening others too. I will not compromise. I refuse to believe the Fang family can control everything. If there's one thing the people despise most, it's those who use their wealth to act as they please. As soon as they heard me say this, they immediately thought of the trending topics online and became outraged. Is this the mother of that Fang what's his name? This is too outrageous. She actually brought bodyguards to the hospital to threaten the victim. Is that a threat? Did I just hear something about a paternity test? It's fake. Probably because if this gets exposed online, it'll be hard to handle. So they're trying the reuniting with family approach. Think about it. The Fang family is so wealthy. If they acknowledge a relative, wouldn't that mean hitting the jackpot? Didn't they say the test was real? This person doesn't seem like they're pretending. It's all an act, for all we no, this woman might not even be Mrs. Fang. She could be an actress hired by the Fang family. After all, none of us have seen her before. They're just trying to trick her into going home first. Wow, can it really be like that? Young lady, you mustn't agree. Going to the Fang family is no different from a lamb walking into a tiger's den. The onlookers chattered away, directly labeling Hu Hongmei as a fraud. This infuriated her, turning her face bright red, but she couldn't find the words to respond. Sister, how could you say that about Mom? The sudden voice caught everyone's attention. Fang Jingrong was dressed in a white gown, her smooth long hair slightly curled at the ends, her delicate, palm-sized face looked utterly innocent, perfectly embodying the image of a delicate white lotus. I wasn't surprised to see Fang Jingrong. She was bound to show up for something like this, eagerly trying to drive a wedge between me and the Fang family. Rong, what brings you here, Mom? Fang Jingrong walked over to Hu Hongmei, her face filled with concern. I was worried about you. I thought if my sister misunderstood, I could help explain. Since this whole thing started because of me, Hu Hongmei immediately reassured her. This has nothing to do with you. It was Xiaoqi's own idea. No, it's not. My brother only did it because he was worried about me. Fang Jingrong bit her lip, her eyes instantly reddening. Sister, please don't blame my brother. It's all because I was too scared, and that's why he made a mistake. Fang Jingrong has always been best at playing the innocent and pitiful victim in front of others. Her delicate, white flower appearance immediately won over the sympathy of many. I rolled my eyes. And who are you? I don't know you at all, sister. I quickly cut her off. I only have one older brother, no younger sister. Don't go around claiming connections. Fang Jingrong immediately put on a look of helplessness, with glistening tears trickling down her face, enough to evoke sympathy from many. This poor girl, she's suffered such an undeserved misfortune. Exactly, it's clearly the son who did wrong. So why is this girl the one getting scolded? Look at this girl, she's so wrong she's crying. Hu Hongmei had always doted on Fang Jingrong, and seeing this, she glared at me with even more hostility. How could you bully Rongrong like this? Xiaoqi is right, you're just jealous of Rongrong. If he doesn't keep you in check, who knows how much you'll bully Rongrong in the future. So, you were in on it too. I caught sight of the faint smirk on Fang Jingrong's lips and couldn't help but think how utterly foolish Hu Hongmei was. She had probably forgotten the very purpose of opening the hospital, or perhaps she simply can't act, and now it's all coming to light. Although I don't plan to give Hu Hongmei a friendly look, I also won't give Fang Jingrong any chance to climb higher. I immediately took out my phone and dialed the police officer from yesterday. Hello, is this Officer Gao? I'd like to report a crime. The mastermind behind Fang Jingqi's case just showed up. Yes, her name is Fang Jingrong, and the Fang family is aware of this. I'll send you the recording. What are you doing? Fang Jingrong, who had been feigning pitifulness, suddenly rushed forward, only to be blocked by Tong Yanming. Call the police. Didn't you say this whole thing started because of you? So you're the mastermind behind it all? Isn't it only natural for me to call the police? Since Fang Jingrong loves drawing attention to herself, I'll just give her a helping hand. That's not what I meant. It was Fang Jingqi himself who. Are you trying to say that just because you shed a few tears, he went and committed a crime, and it's all his fault, with no connection to you? Or are you suggesting that he couldn't even handle such a small matter properly, and now you have to step in yourself? How utterly foolish it seemed. Each sentence had struck a nerve with Fang Jingrong. Her mouth hung open for a long moment, unable to form a rebuttal. No, that's not it. I'm just worried that if my sister falls out with the family, she won't know how to face Mom and Dad when she comes home later. Fang Jingrong, perhaps afraid I'd challenge her again, spoke in a hurried, anxious rush, a report from who knows where, and you think you can turn black into white and claim kinship? You're dreaming too big. If you don't believe it, you can always have the report verified by an institution to see if it's genuine. This report clearly shows it's from half a month ago. I sneered coldly. You keep insisting I'm a member of the Fong family, yet you had the identification report half a month ago. Why wait until now to come and acknowledge me? Stop putting on an act. You're just trying to use a fake report to get me to drop the lawsuit. Once Fong Jingqi is in the clear, you'll come back and say sorry, that it was all a mistake. Either way, you'll have your excuses. My words made the onlookers suddenly understand, so that's what they were after all along. If this girl had really been fooled by the fake report and thought they were her family, she would have withdrawn the lawsuit. Once they were released and then kicked her out, she would have nowhere to turn for justice. I wondered why they brought bodyguards for a family reunion. They were here to intimidate the siblings, even if the report is genuine. Taking a step back, the fact that they haven't acknowledged her for half a month means they don't want to. This family is truly awful. The pointing fingers and whispers from the surrounding crowd left Hu Hongmei and the other person fuming with anger. Hu Hongmei immediately declared, then let's go get a new test done right now, and I'll show you whether this report is real or not. TSK, who doesn't know how powerful your Fong family is? I'm more worried you'll take my hair to curse me, you. Just then, Officer Gao arrived. She first shooed away the onlookers, then had her colleagues escort Hu Hongmei and the other person out. Finally, she turned to me and Tong Yanming and said, I've seen the report, and it's probably genuine. Besides, Fong Jingqi didn't cause you any substantial harm, so it'll likely just be a fine and a few days of detention. She paused briefly before speaking again. If you don't believe it, we can help you verify it through the police. Absolutely fair and impartial. Her words were exactly what I had expected. I never intended to cause any real harm to the Fong family over this matter. I just wanted an excuse not to return to the Fong family. I didn't say anything, but Tong Yanming asked, who will be tested? Chu Chu and Fong Jingqi. After all, they are the parties involved. He happened to be here last night for treatment, and there are stored blood samples. If we expedite it, the results can be ready today. Officer Gao repeated the same words to Hu Hongmei, who immediately agreed to expedite the process. I paid no attention to Hu Hongmei's confident demeanor and instead opened the chat window. The marketing account had already transferred the money. With this sum, my brother could return to school, and my tuition was also covered. I didn't want to wait for any report, but leaving directly wouldn't fit the persona I had built, so I stayed and waited. We were all waiting peacefully, minding our own business. But Fong Jingrong insisted on stepping forward to make her presence known. Sister, you should still apologize to Mom. Don't let things get too tense, or Dad will be very angry when he finds out. If it weren't for the police still being there and the crowd of onlookers around, I would have given him a slap. No matter what, you'd better worry about yourself. I suddenly leaned in and whispered in her ear, if I go back to the Fong family, the first thing I'll do is kick you out. Mom and Dad won't agree to it. That's not up to them. The report is out. Officer Gao's voice cut off what Fong Jingrong was about to say. Originally, she had thought it involved privacy and planned to read it back in the ward. Little did she expect Hu Hongmei to directly say, if you stand straight, you don't have to fear a crooked shadow, insisting on reading it in front of everyone. After saying that, she glanced at me. The meaning behind that look was all too clear. She wanted me to quickly back down. What a pity. I don't care. Since the person involved agreed, someone even started a live stream. How is this possible? Hu Hongmei's astonished voice rang out, and I tilted my head to look over. No blood relation at all. I exchanged a surprised glance with Tong Yanming, then looked at Fong Jingrong, seeing that her shock wasn't feigned either. Could it be that I really have no blood relation to the Fong family? No, impossible. My paternity test report must be genuine. Could yours be mistaken? That's a possibility. I turned to look at the doctor. If you're not convinced, you can have someone come over and do another test. Run another test for us. As she spoke, Hu Hongmei tried to grab me, but Tong Yanming pushed her away. Suddenly, a bold idea struck me. Even if our test results show a blood relationship, so what? That doesn't mean you and your son are related. Instead of coming to me for a test, why don't you go back and get one done with your precious son? You Fong family members are so generous, not raising your own, but raising someone else's child instead. No, that's not true. Don't you dare spout nonsense here. Shao-Chi is my son, my own flesh and blood, born after 10 months of pregnancy. Tong Yanming held back Hu Hongmei from rushing forward while adding sarcastically, this is your Fong family's private matter. No need to prove anything to us. I nodded deeply in agreement. Brother, let's go home. Regardless of whether Hu Hongmei would go for a paternity test later, my brother and I went home together. After arriving home, Tong Yanming couldn't help but Ask, do you really have a blood relationship with the Feng family? My hand paused as I was about to open my phone. After a moment's thought, I nodded. Hu Hongmei must have confirmed it multiple times, otherwise, Feng Jingqi wouldn't have come looking for me in such a rage. But I never expected that Feng Jingqi wouldn't be a child of the Feng family. For the Feng family to have their child swapped once could be considered an accident, but for it to happen twice, that's more than just a coincidence. Could it be? Tang Yanming paused and lowered his voice. That it was intentional, it's possible, but the Feng family isn't the kind of household where children can be swapped so easily, let alone twice, unless there was an inside accomplice. Even if there was an inside accomplice, why would they want to swap the children? As I scrolled through the heated discussions online, a particular comment suddenly caught my eye. Do you think both of them have no blood relation to the Feng couple, or is it just Hu Hongmei they're not related to? Tang Yanming tilted his head in confusion. What do you mean? I showed him the comment, and he gasped sharply. That really could be the case, so it seems I have a biological brother out there wandering the world, or maybe not anymore. Tang Yanming sighed and patted my head. Everyone has their own fate. Maybe he was adopted by someone else. I hope so. After sharing these reflections, I used the money from the marketing account to hire a private investigator to look into Feng Baozhu's private life. Within 3 days of the incident, netizens had pieced together the truth of the matter. During this time, Sister Gao also called, saying that Hu Hongmei had taken Feng Jingqi's hair for a paternity test. The results indeed showed no blood relation, and she fainted on the spot. She was even photographed by netizens and the pictures were posted online. It seems he won't have time to bother me lately. I pushed my brother to prepare for returning to school, and I also got ready for the new semester. Just then, the doorbell rang. Could it be Feng Baozhu? The door opened to reveal a face that was both unfamiliar and strangely familiar. The man appeared to be in his 40s, and from his demeanor and actions, it was clear he was a wealthy man. Who are you? The man didn't answer Tang Yanming. Instead, his gaze swept around the room before finally settling on the black and white photographs of the foster parents. Tang Yanming, and I understood the identity of the visitor almost instantly, the son. My adoptive parents had been searching for over 30 years, but in my memory, he never appeared in my previous life. May I offer them some incense? I glanced at the bodyguards behind him, nodded, and pulled Tang Yanming aside to let them in. After finishing the incense offering, he bowed slightly to us. Thank you for helping send off my parents, Tang Yanming, and I stepped aside. There's no need to thank us. They raised us for 20 years. It's the least we could do. Still, thank you. If it weren't for the online exposure of your situation a few days ago, I might never have regained my memories. You've lost your memory. Seeing him nod, I couldn't help but click my tongue. What a melodramatic plot. This man is now called Lu Ke, but he was originally named Tang Chuming back then. After being abducted by human traffickers, he was sold abroad and became someone else's organ bank, but he was lucky. Just after arriving abroad, the group was caught. He was sent to an orphanage and later adopted by a Chinese family, becoming Lu Ke. Perhaps due to the overwhelming impact of bloodshed and darkness from a young age, he lost his memory. This memory loss lasted for over 30 years. He had completely forgotten that he was Tang Chuming, forgotten that he still had a pair of parents. It wasn't until this trip back to the country for a business negotiation that he accidentally stumbled upon the online revelations about my and Tang Yanming's backgrounds, the familiar neighborhood, the familiar photos, the familiar words. They left him in a daze. Then, a sharp pain shot through his mind, and long-lost memories came flooding back. He remembered, he immediately had someone investigate his adoptive parents' situation, and upon learning that they had never given up searching for him for over 30 years, he completely broke down. So he came here to see them. After hearing the story, Tang Yanming and I didn't say much. If anything had to be said, it was probably just fate playing tricks on people. Tang Yanming handed over the adoptive parents' belongings and the property deed to Lu Ke. These were originally your things, and now they're being returned to their rightful owner. If you don't plan to live here, could we buy it from you? Lu Ke was taken aback for a moment and didn't say anything. Tang Yanming didn't say much more either, thinking that he probably needed some time alone. Tang Yanming and I left the house under the pretext of going grocery shopping. When I returned, Luke had already left. He had also taken his adoptive parents' belongings with him. Tang Yanming patted my head. His family is all abroad, so he definitely needs to deal with the house here. I'll ask him if he can pay in installments. I shook my head. I have money. The compensation from the Feng family hasn't arrived yet. After saying that, I immediately called Sister Gao to ask when the compensation would be settled. Unexpectedly, I received news that the Feng family would be Making a statement via livestream, I clicked on the link she shared and saw Feng Baozhu talking confidently in the livestream. Hu Hongmei looked haggard, her gaze empty as she stared off to the side, while Feng Jingrong was impeccably made up. Firstly, Feng Baozhu called on everyone to protect their own children and not give human traffickers any opportunity. Secondly, he made it clear that although Feng Jingrong and Feng Jingqi are not biologically related, they have developed feelings after being raised for so many years and will continue to stay in the Feng family. When asked whether they would recognize me and bring me back, Feng Baozhu showed a helpless expression, saying, "Chu has no emotional connection with us. I'm afraid she might not be willing to come back." Feng Jingrong even added in a rather hypocritical tone, "Sister probably has a deeper bond with the brother she grew up with, but their adoptive parents passed away long ago, leaving only the two of them, which must be quite inconvenient." As soon as I heard this, I knew she was deliberately steering the narrative, trying to mislead the audience about my relationship with Tang Yanming. Sure enough, the comments section started to go off topic, with all sorts of malicious speculations popping up one after another. If she's still trying to throw mud at me at a time like this, then the Feng family isn't chaotic enough. I immediately packaged up the information the private investigator had uncovered and sent it to the marketing accounts, steer the public opinion towards the relationship between Feng Baozhu, Feng Jingrong, and Feng Jingqi. Received. 10 minutes later, the panic in the Feng family's eyes was unmistakable. Seeing this, Hu Hongmei was even more furious, grabbing Feng Baozhu's hair and hitting him. "You actually kept so many women outside, Feng Baozhu. Have you forgotten that everything you have now was given by our Hu family?" "Mom, don't hit Dad, and you, a wild child from who knows where, how dare you occupy my daughter's position? Who do you think you are? Feng Baozhu, I'm going to kill you. You're crazy. This is live. I've been crazy for a long time. You heartless wretch. How could you do this to me?" On screen, Hu Hongmei picked up whatever she could find and threw it at Feng Baozhu, while Feng Jingrong rushed over to intervene. The live stream descended into chaos and was quickly cut off. However, from Hu Hongmei's tone, it seems she hasn't yet suspected anything about Feng Jingrong and Feng Jingqi's origins. After what happened today, she'll probably start investigating. After watching the live stream, Tang Yanming frowned deeply. "After school starts, you should stay in the dormitory first. I'm worried they might disturb your exams. What about you? What does the Feng family have to do with me?" I nodded in agreement. No matter how much the Feng family stirs up trouble, it won't interfere with my classes. Tang Yanming arranged for me to stay in the dormitory, but I won't resume my studies for now. I'll wait until after the exams. I knew he was worried about me, so I didn't push it. Someone had spread the video of me crying and shouting at the night market around the school, and everyone was looking at me strangely. Some boys even whistled at me, asking if I had enjoyed it, so I beat them up, dragged them to the bathroom, and washed their mouths out with a mop. Tang Yanming, who had just parted ways with me half a day ago, was called to the school, but unexpectedly, Luca came along as well. After learning the whole story, the boy's mother not only showed no remorse but even brazenly remarked, "Whether you're related by blood or not, who knows if you two have." I was about to hit her when Tang Yanming pulled me back. Luca spoke in a low, serious tone. "I will send you a lawyer's letter based on what you just said. Don't try to scare me. Who do you think you are, sending me a lawyer's letter? Do you even know what my family does? Tang Yanchu hurt my son. I should be the one calling the police." Wang's Appliances, 2 years ago, produced a batch of substandard electrical appliances that were released into the market, causing fires in multiple households during use, resulting in numerous casualties. Her originally sharp and mean face instantly turned pale with terror. What are you saying? Don't talk nonsense. I'm warning you. I've already handed the evidence over to the police. Get ready to go bankrupt. The woman was about to say something when a phone call came in, perhaps too flustered, she accidentally hit the speaker button, and everyone heard the words, "Mr. Wang has been taken away by the police." The woman collapsed to the ground, and the others didn't dare to breathe a word. After this incident, I didn't want to go back to the classroom for class either, so I followed Tang Yanming and Luca directly to the coffee shop outside the school. He took out a document folder and pushed it over. "I can't sell the house to you, because legally, you are the rightful heirs of this house, and in my heart, you are my younger brother and sister, so don't dwell on this issue. Also, I have a thank you gift for you." Inside this folder, Tang Yanming opened it, then gave me a strange look. I leaned over and saw it was an appraisal report. The subjects of the appraisal were me and Tang Yanming, blood relation, you and me. I originally intended to help you find your own families, but by chance, I ended up having you tested, only to discover you are biological Siblings, what a small world it truly is. Tong Nianming was somewhat incredulous, so we were both abandoned in the same place and just happened to be picked up by our parents. What kind of melodramatic twist is this? While we were still reeling from this incredible coincidence, Luca continued, after learning about your backgrounds, I became too curious about the origins of the two imposters in the Feng family, so I found a way to get their hair samples and had them tested separately with Feng Baozhu and Hu Hongmei. Can you guess the outcome? Tong Nianming and I exchanged a glance before voicing our speculation. They are biological siblings, related to Feng Baozhu by blood, but not to Hu Hongmei, not entirely. Feng Jingren is indeed Feng Baozhu's child, but Feng Jingqi is not. What? It didn't take me long to process it, so I have no blood relation to Feng Jingqi at all. Exactly, their test results are here too. Whether to let the Feng family know is up to you. I shook my head. No rush. For such a fatal blow, I need to pick the right day. Tong Nianming nodded. Right, they're all a bit off, but we can't let them affect your exams. Are you only thinking about exams right now? What else? You're in your senior year of high school. If you're not thinking about exams, what should you be thinking about? Me, speechless to prevent the Feng family from affecting me. Tong Nianming agreed to Luca's suggestion of temporarily moving. We moved into Luca's large villa, and Tong Nianming applied for me to study at home until the exams. Tong Nianming then began learning from Luca how to handle company affairs. During the 3 days of the college entrance exams, Luca and Tong Nianming personally drove me to and from the test center. Luca also lamented that he had never experienced the college entrance exam, feeling somewhat regretful after the exam. Tong Nianming finally told me Hu Hongmei actually went to the school to look for me, essentially hoping I would return to the Feng family, because Feng Jingrong was injured and had to miss this exam. If I returned to the Feng family, I would definitely receive significant attention. She also said that as long as I was willing to go back, she would send Feng Jingrong away. But when Tong Nianming asked about how to deal with Feng Jingqi, she hesitated and couldn't give a clear answer. In the end, she only said, Chu Chu also needs her brother to back her up, otherwise, who will help her when she gets married in the future? Tong Nianming lost interest in continuing the conversation with her and naturally didn't mention his own affairs. I really don't understand. She already knows Feng Baozhu betrayed her, so why hasn't she divorced him? And she still wants you to go back to maintain peace in the Feng family. I'm not surprised by this, because she's used to it. She's used to enjoying life. Used to being a wealthy lady who just reaches out for money. If she falls out with Feng Baozhu, she'll have to go out and earn a living herself. With just an unfilial daughter like me, I can't give her the life she wants. Similarly, she can abandon Feng Jingrong, but she would never abandon Feng Jingqi. However, if she were to learn about your true origins, that might change, as a son is ultimately more reliable for her to depend on. Tong Nianming frowned. So she isn't rebelling, she simply found another person to rely on. I successfully got into university, and Luca planned to hold a celebration banquet for me. His business ventures in the country were also doing quite well, and he invited many friends from the business world, including the Feng family. But after all, the Feng family has been in the business world for so many years. Even though their stock has dropped a lot in the past 6 months, a starved camel is still bigger than a horse, so it's not surprising that they were here. I was just surprised that all 4 members of the Feng family actually came. They were also surprised when they saw me. How did you get in here? This is no place for someone like you to sneak into. Get out now. Feng Baozhu rushed over to scold me without a second thought, looking exactly the same as he did in my past life. Mr. Feng, you're overstepping your bounds, my brother said, pulling me behind him. Take a good look at yourselves. What status do you two have? A couple of country bumpkins daring to sneak into a place like this. Feng Jingqi looked at us with disdain and sneered. Don't tell me you're trying to get Tong Nianchu to cozy up to Mr. Lu's sworn brother. How shameless can you be, Mr. Lu's sworn brother? Isn't that Tong Nianming? Feng Jingqi spoke disrespectfully to me, while Hu Hongmei just stood by, her face caked with thick powder, looking at me with a hint of schadenfreude in her eyes, as if to say, see, this is what happens when you don't return to the Feng family. I grabbed the furious Tong Nianming, who was about to explode, and snorted coldly. Why would young Master Feng think that? Could it be that this is exactly what your Feng family has in mind? After speaking, I glanced at Feng Jingrong, who was dressed in her finest attire. She raised her chin slightly, looking at me with disdain. I heard Feng Jingrong didn't even take the college entrance exam. How could you think she'd be interested in that? What do you know? Rongrong is a well-bred lady raised by our Feng family, not like some country bumpkin like you. Oh, a marriage tool cultivated over a dozen years. I certainly wouldn't dare compare. Sharp-tongued and cunning, look at your ugly, jealous face. It's a good thing we didn't bring you back to the Fong family, or you'd have stirred up endless trouble, I sneered. I couldn't care less about the Fong family. Fong Jingqi seemed to have lost interest in dealing with me. He turned and signaled to a waiter, pointing at me. There are 2 unworthy people who've snuck in here. Get them out immediately. The waiter glanced at me and Tong Nianming, speaking softly, Mr. Tong, Miss Tong. Is there anything I can help you with? His respectful attitude left the Fong family frozen in place. Fong Jingqi spoke with disbelief. What did you call them? They don't deserve. If they don't deserve it, do you think you do? Luca walked over with a bunch of people trying to curry favor. Big brother, Tong Nianming, and I greeted him obediently. Luca nodded and introduced to the others. They are the children my parents adopted, also my younger brother and sister. Today's celebration banquet is for Choo Choo. As soon as Luca finished speaking, everyone immediately gathered around to congratulate me. How could that be? The 4 members of the Fong family exclaimed in surprise, drawing everyone's attention. Fong Jingrong never expected that the person she intended to seduce today was Tong Nianming, and Fong Jingqi also didn't realize that I was the host of this banquet. Fong Baozhu wore an expression of deep regret, while Hu Hongmei, after her initial shock, burst with delight in her eyes. Choo Choo, I'm your mother, I'm your birth mother. As she spoke, she tried to rush over and grab my hand, only to be blocked once again by Tong Nianming. This time, she didn't hold back her anger. Instead, she lashed out. Who do you think you are, daring to stand in the way of me recognizing my daughter? Choo Choo, look at him, he's harboring ill intentions toward you, trying to keep you from reuniting with your own parents. Earlier when I went to look for you, it was him who stopped me. He doesn't look like a decent person at all. You have to believe me. I would never lie to you. Over there, Fong Baozhu seemed to have finally grasped the situation at hand, putting on a hypocritical smile as well. Choo Choo, I'm your dad, your real dad. He then snapped at Tong Nianming. Get out of the way. Don't interfere with us reuniting with our daughter, or else don't blame me for being rude. Looking at the abandoned Fong Jingqi and his sister, I couldn't help but find it laughable. If I go back, what will happen to your beloved Rongrong? Pa, a bastard from who knows where. How dare she stay in the Fong family? Mom will kick her out right away. Fong Baozhu did not agree, but he did not object either. Fong Jingrong immediately rushed forward. Dad, you can't drive me away. I am the eldest daughter of the Fong family. That's right, Dad. I won't agree to Tong Nianchu returning to the Fong family. I only recognize Rongrong as my sister. Fong Baozhu glanced at my expression and scolded in a low voice, Shut up, Dad. I chuckled softly. Of course you only recognize Fong Jingrong. After all, she's your half-sister from the same mother. Everyone was stunned for a moment, then turned their gaze toward Fong Baozhu in unison. Even he himself was stunned. Fong Jingqi was so angry he jumped up and down. You're talking nonsense. I am Dad's son. I spread my hands. Paternity tests are a good thing. I suggest you all go get one. What do you mean? Who? Hongmei was stunned for a moment, then flew into a rage. You sent my child away and made me raise your illegitimate daughter and son. Fong Baozhu, I'm going to kill you, you heartless bastard. Hu Hongmei stretched out her claws to scratch Fong Baozhu. Fong Baozhu was still in a daze and, caught off guard, ended up with a face full of scratches, protected by Tong Nianming. I retreated behind the bodyguards. Everyone stood by, watching the commotion. Fong Baozhu snapped back to reality and first slapped Hu Hongmei, then he kicked Fong Jingqi and slapped him too, dragging him off to get a paternity test. Fong Jingrong didn't dare stay behind and hurriedly chased after them. Hu Hongmei, however, had thick skin and kept wailing my name. Choo Choo, your all mom has left now, my dear Choo Choo. I was about to step forward when Tong Nianming pulled me back, then went up himself and dragged Hu Hongmei out of the hotel lobby. Hu Hongmei struggled and cursed at Tong Nianming the whole time. I knew this was my brother's way of cutting ties with her for good. After my brother returned, his eyes remained red the whole time, but no one dared to bring it up. By the next day, the news that Tong Nianming and I were biological siblings had spread. Those who understood the whole farce were saying that the Fong family had thrown away the watermelon to pick up a sesame seed. After the college celebration banquet, Luca took us to the capital. Luca's company was in the capital, so I also applied to a university there, hoping to stay close to my brother, until a year later, a marketing account I had previously done business with suddenly sent me a link. I clicked on it and found out it was news about Fong Jingqi being imprisoned. I quickly asked someone to investigate the whole story. After discovering he had been cheated on, Fong Baozhu kicked Fong Jingqi out of the house. Fong Jingqi, accustomed to a lavish lifestyle, was hardly capable of self-reliance before his household registration could be revoked. He plotted to kill Feng Baozhu in order to inherit the property. To carry out his plan, he even sought cooperation from Feng Jingrong. Little did he know that Feng Jingrong had her own hidden agenda. She watched as Feng Jingqi took action, then immediately reported him to the police. Feng Baozhu survived, but was left paralyzed. Feng Jingqi was imprisoned for attempted murder due to this scandal. The stock of the Feng Group plummeted, and the upper-level shareholders quickly sold off their shares. The Feng family went bankrupt. The massive debt fell squarely on Hu Hongmei and Feng Jingrong. They even tried to shift the debt onto me, but unfortunately, the debt collectors weren't fools. How could they possibly come all the way to the capital just to offend someone based on their word alone? As for what happened afterward, I didn't bother to find out, because I have already completed the task of rebirth. I didn't return to the Feng family. I protected my brother. And I secured my own future. Of course, the happiest thing is, my brother really is my brother. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. The fake heiress stole my ID card and registered a marriage with a homeless man. By the time my biological parents found me, the homeless man had already moved into their home. He tossed the marriage certificate aside. My wife is a wealthy heiress, so as her husband, can I get a share of the inheritance too? The fake heiress also sneered triumphantly from the side. Sister, not that I want to say this, but you're really desperate, marrying a homeless man. Mom and Dad will never acknowledge a dirty daughter like you. I was at a loss for words, utterly heartbroken, because the marriage certificate was real, and no one believed me. Later, I was abandoned by the wealthy family, suffered domestic violence from a homeless man with no way to complain, and wanted to divorce but was delayed due to the cooling-off period. As the cooling-off period was about to end, the homeless man withdrew the divorce application, sneering wickedly. Want a divorce? No way. In my world, there's only widowhood. The moment he said that, I bought rat poison to end us both. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day the fake heiress stole my ID card. This time, I stole hers first. When I got my hands on the fake heiress Ji Jiajiao's ID card, I had already tracked down the homeless man from my past life who loved domestic violence. He was lying on a park bench like a pile of mud, reeking of foul odor, while passers-by pinched their noses and hurried past. The reason Ji Jiajia chose him was because she had been living a wild life before. She got drunk and was abandoned on the road, and he picked her up and took her back under the bridge. He recorded an indecent video of the two of them, so Ji Jiajia begged him, promising to find him a wife in exchange for his letting her go. At this moment, the Ji family had already uncovered my identity. Feeling deeply threatened, Ji Jiajia framed me. I took out my phone and glanced at my reflection. As a beauty blogger, it wasn't hard for me to mimic Ji Jiajia's look. We had similar builds and heights, making it difficult to tell us apart. In her previous life, she also had someone paint her to look like me, and with a stolen ID card, she decided my fate. I forced down my disgust and walked over. The moment he saw me, he immediately stood up. Woman, you're here. Did you miss me? I suppressed the hatred in my heart. In my past life, Ji Jiajia made me suffer so much. This person tormented me, and the Ji family helped Ji Jiajia suppress me, even saying, since you like that beggar so much, then never divorce him. Every time I tried to run away, the Ji family would catch me. The eldest brother of the Ji family even broke my leg. Fearing that I would go to others and expose this scandal of the Ji family, I was utterly powerless to resist, just a small-town exam machine, without influence or connections, destined to be ground down by them my entire life. And now that I've been reborn, I can finally change my own fate. The Ji family, Ji Jiajiao, they will all pay for the suffering of my past life. I imitated Ji Jiajiao's sweet, coquettish voice and said to him, let's get married. I put on a mask because being close to him made me feel nauseated. What? He was overwhelmed by the unexpected favor, his grimy face leaning in close to me. The foul stench hit me, and I took 2 steps back. In this June weather, he was like a walking trash can. This man was lazy, had been in jail for rape, and after being released, he didn't look for a job. He even had his pinky finger cut off for stealing. In my past life, I fought back when he abused me, but Ji Jiajiao had people watching us. Whenever it looked like he couldn't overpower me, someone would rush in to help him. He also told the homeless man, if she calls the police, just say it was a fight between husband and wife, you'll be fine, but whatever you do, don't mention me. I clenched my fists. In this life, I'll make Ji Jiajia taste that same kind of pain. I don't know if this rebirth is a stroke of divine justice or just a fleeting dream, but either way, I'll keep fighting, keep striving for a chance to survive. Let's go. I took him to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I had already had someone Photoshop our marriage certificate photo, so Everything went smoothly. The divorce section was packed with people, while the marriage section had only us. The staff, as if trying to meet a quota, didn't ask us any other questions and immediately stamped the documents. When we got the certificate, I looked at the homeless man. His name on the marriage certificate was Zhao Tianxiang. I'm going home now. Come over later, and I'll introduce you to my parents. Here's my address. I handed him a business card with Ji Jiaojiao's name on it. He took it excitedly and gave it a kiss. Woman, I told you, you don't need to introduce anyone else to me. I like you just the way you are, so fair and tender, not like the old women in the village. I couldn't bear to listen any longer and quickly hailed a taxi to leave, holding the marriage certificate and ID card. I went to find Ji Jiaojiao. Ji Jiaojiao was still sleeping soundly under the bridge. I hid the marriage certificate and ID card in the inner layer of her bag, then she turned and left, leading a sanitation worker to discover her sleeping there. Miss, are you sick? Why are you sleeping under the bridge? The auntie woke her up, looking somewhat worried. Ji Jiaojiao's head felt a bit dizzy and heavy. She patted her forehead. Just moments ago, she had been planning to go steal Su Youqing's ID card, but as soon as she walked onto the small path, someone had knocked her out from behind. No, this was how she woke up. Glancing at the time, she quickly stood up. There's no time, she gritted her teeth in silent resentment. Her parents were going to pick up Su Youqing at 6 o'clock this afternoon. It was already 4:30. There was no time for her to steal Su Youqing's ID card, and even if she managed to, the Civil Affairs Bureau would already be closed. Which enemy of hers was secretly plotting against her at a time like this? Couldn't they have chosen a different time? And moreover, as she walked along this path, no one knew she would be here today. Miss, you, the sanitation aunt looked at her with concern. Ji Jiaojiao pushed her away. Get lost, don't touch me, it's disgusting. How dare someone of your lowly status lay a hand on a young lady like me? After saying that, she quickly walked away. The sanitation worker was furious. What kind of person is this, who raised such an ill-mannered thing? I returned to my rented room, and living here still felt like a lifetime away. In my past life, I got into a top-tier university and had a bright future ahead, but they ruined it all. This time around, I'll study hard, and I'll claim the Ji family as well. Don't mess with the small-town exam warriors. In my past life, I couldn't change my fate because I was crushed by power from the very beginning. This time, I can change my destiny. After removing my makeup, I burned the clothes and wig I wore today, destroying all traces. I made a cup of instant noodles and saw that it was almost 6 o'clock. I was ready to face everything. Knock, knock, knock. The small apartment I rent is quite far from the school, requiring me to take the subway to commute, but it's cheap. I timidly asked through the door, who is it? Xiaoqing. It's me, Auntie Li. Hearing the voice of the community auntie, I opened the door and saw a group of people. Pushing up my glasses, I cautiously asked, Auntie Li, who are these people? I glanced around at the Ji family, Mr. and Mrs. Ji, the eldest brother Ji Mingzhi, the second brother Ji Mingxiu, the third brother Ji Mingquan, and Ji Jiaojiao. These were the people I hated most in this life. At this moment, only Zhao Tianqiang was missing. Oh, Xiaoqing, you've finally found your sunshine. These are your biological parents. Remember the blood donation event organized by the community a while ago? Your parents have been searching for you for years. After this blood donation, they compared the samples and discovered you're the child they've been looking for all this time. Aunt Li knew at first glance that Mrs. Ji was your mother. You two look exactly alike, truly mother and daughter carved from the same mold. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Ji's eyes also reddened. She quickly stepped forward and embraced me, saying, My dear daughter, you've suffered all these years. I played the role of being utterly bewildered to perfection, but inwardly, I sneered. The Ji family only cared about their own interests and had no regard for familial bonds whatsoever. The reason they wanted to bring me back was because Mrs. Ji had fallen ill and needed my bone marrow. After what happened between me and Zhao Tianqiang, she thought I was tainted, yet she still resorted to threats and inducements to force me into donating my bone marrow. This was also the reason for my frail health later on. Aunt Li wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. Xiaoqing, you've finally come through the hardships. This child is a student at Tsinghua University. She's going to make something of herself. The Ji family's brother, who had initially looked down on me, was somewhat surprised upon hearing that I was a Tsinghua University student. His gaze toward me softened a little. Father Ji also shed a few symbolic tears. It's good to have you back. It's good to have you back. Ji Jiaojiao clenched her fists, knowing that if she didn't destroy me this time, it would be much harder next time. Are you really my mother? I looked at Mrs. Ji. Then why did you abandon me back then? Her body stiffened, and her voice choked up. Child, it wasn't that I didn't want you. You were stolen From me, by the time I realized, it was too late. I offered a reward of 100,000, but no one could find you. Elder brother G handed over the paternity test report. Little sister, what did you study at Tsinghua University? I took the paternity test and answered his question. I'm a freshman in the finance department. Ji Mingzhi immediately asked, so, do you know Qin Jian? I knew what he was getting at and nodded. Qin Jian from our class, I have some connection with him. Qin Jian, the young master of the Qin family, and recently the Qin family and the Ji family have a big business deal to collaborate on. The Liu family also wants to get involved. If the Liu family participates, the Ji family's deal will fall through. Qin Jian, the only son of the Qin family and a talented student in the finance department of Tsinghua University, is someone many people want to get close to. I've met Qin Jian before, but we're not close. In fact, we even have a grudge to survive. I can do whatever it takes, and becoming friends with him isn't out of the question. Sister, you're amazing. Ji Mingzhi quickly stepped forward. From now on, you're part of the Ji family. This is a gift from your second brother. He took out a box containing an exquisite LV bracelet. Ji Jiajiao dug her nails into her palm. Didn't second brother say this was meant for her? Why was he giving it to this country bumpkin? Ji Mingzhi took out a box containing a delicate necklace. The large diamond sparkled under the dim yellow light of the rental apartment. This is a gift from your eldest brother. Third brother Ji Mingquan also took out a box containing a jade green bracelet. Just by its appearance, it was clearly not cheap. This is an emerald I got from a recent stone gambling session. I had it made into a bracelet just for my little sister. I looked at Aunt Lee, then at my parents, all of them eagerly waiting for me to accept the gift. Father even handed over a contract on the spot. I know I've let you down, he said. This is 5% of the company's shares, and I'm giving them to you. Dad, Ji Jiajiao couldn't believe it. She had been in this family for 18 years and never received any company shares, yet her father was giving them directly to Su Yuqing. Although I was somewhat surprised, deep down I understood. The Qin family deal was now resting on my shoulders. Mother Lu Wenmin glanced at Ji Jiajiao. Jiajiao, after all, Qingqing has suffered so much all these years, it's only right that we compensate her. Now that Qingqing is back, you two will be like real sisters from now on, support each other well, and together, let the Ji family's business reach new heights. As soon as she said this, the others nodded in agreement. From now on, I'll have two younger sisters. Our Ji family is livelier again. How wonderful. Hurry and accept the gift, little sister. From now on, we're family. As if unaware of their insincerity, I accepted their gift with apparent emotion, my eyes reddening. I thought I was an orphan, but now I have family again. How wonderful, truly wonderful. They breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to themselves that someone from a poor, remote place was indeed easy to fool. Just a little kindness and they could be won over. Shao Qing, Auntie Li is happy for you too. Auntie Li also wiped away the tears at the corner of her eyes. If the Ji family's affection was all pretense, then Aunt Li's tears were genuinely shed in happiness for me. In my past life, when I was beaten, she went to call the police for me, but there was nothing she could do. She was just an ordinary middle-aged woman. The Ji family welcomed me home with excitement. I packed some clothes, leaving the instant noodles I had prepared untouched. They said the servants had already prepared a meal. The instant noodles were thrown into the trash, the heavy iron door closed, and the cramped, narrow rental room faded from my sight. The car had just arrived at the Ji family's gate when a homeless man approached. He was still wearing the same clothes from earlier that day, a t-shirt so greasy that even mosquitoes would slip on it, with oily hair that stayed in place after a few rough strokes of his hand. Ji Mingzhi opened the car door and immediately flew into a rage at the sight of Zhao Tianqian. Where did this beggar come from? Get lost. This is no place for you. Security. Where's security? How could they let someone like this in? Seeing Zhao Tianqian, Ji Jiajiao didn't even want to get out of the car, because she knew this man was here for her. But how did he find out about her identity? If she had successfully stolen the ID card and gotten married today, she might have taken some perverse pleasure in his arrival. But since she hadn't succeeded, his purpose in coming was undoubtedly about her. Jiajiao, why aren't you getting out of the car? Ji Mingzhi, who doted on Ji Jiajiao the most, looked at her affectionately. Don't worry, even though Su Yuqing is back, you're still my sister, and I won't let her bully you. Ji Mingzhi took Ji Jiajiao's hand. I'll give you 10 LV bracelets tomorrow, even prettier than hers. Don't be angry anymore. Ji Jiajiao's face turned pale. Seeing Zhao Tianqian outside the car window, she couldn't help but recall what happened last month. She had sneaked up to drink, and everyone was drunk. She had no idea where she was. When she woke up again, her body was covered in marks, and Zhao Tianqian's Yellowed teeth were still gnawing at her face. Ji Jiajiao felt a bit nauseous. Ji Mingxiu patted her head. "We're home, my little princess." I stood behind my mother, quietly waiting for all of this to unfold. In my past life, when they found out Zhao Tiancheng and I were getting married, everyone was furious. My father even slapped me, and my mother scolded me for being shameless. My 3 older brothers bluntly called me filthy, saying they didn't have a sister like me, that I had disgraced the G family, hurling all kinds of insults at me. I explained to them that I didn't acknowledge the marriage certificate, that the photos were photoshopped, but they didn't believe me. If you had nothing to do with him, how did you get a marriage certificate with him? How did you take photos together? And how did you get your identity documents? Stop pretending, you're just a cheap, filthy thing. Remembering the insults I had suffered before, my anger still burned in my chest, and my hands couldn't help but tremble. "What's wrong with Qingqing?" Lu Wenmin looked at me with affection. I shook my head. "Seeing this dirty homeless man, I'm scared." Lu Wenmin glanced at the homeless man with a flash of disgust in her eyes. "Who knows where he came from? What are the security guards in this neighborhood even doing?" Ji Mingquan opened the main door, and the butler immediately stepped out. "Master, madam, young master, and young miss, the meal is ready." He looked at me, his eyes instantly reddening. "This must be Miss Qingqing, right? You've finally returned. The master and madam have finally welcomed their beloved daughter home." This old servant is overjoyed. If it weren't for him sending people to help Zhao Tiancheng beat me in my past life, I might have believed his tears. I looked at him obediently. "Hello, Uncle Butler." Good. He was so excited that he finally noticed the homeless man at the door, his eyes filled with disgust. "I already told you your wife isn't here. Get lost now, or I'll break your legs." "Uncle Lu, what's going on?" Ji Mingzhi glanced at the homeless man with a look of disdain. "Was he here looking for his wife?" Uncle Lu shook his head. "He came over at 5 o'clock, claiming his wife lived here and demanding we let him in. I knew he was here to cause trouble, so I had him gagged and beaten out. I didn't expect him to come back." Ji Jiajiao also overheard the conversation from that side, her face instantly turning pale as if all the strength had been drained from her body. "It's over. Everything is over." Ji Rulin immediately flared up. "How dare he? There's no such person as his wife in our Ji family. Break his legs and throw him out." Zhao Tiancheng was also furious. "I'm the son-in-law of the Ji family, and I'm going to inherit the Ji family's company in the future. If you dare hit me, I'll make you eat shit later." Ji Mingquan was already hot-tempered by nature. Hearing the vagrant's words, he rushed forward to hit him, but to his surprise, the vagrant threw out a red booklet. "Take a good look, you bastard. I am the husband of your Ji family's Ji Jiajiao. This is a marriage certificate with an official seal." The corners of my lips lifted slightly. The show was about to begin. Upon hearing his words, Ji Jiajiao froze completely. Ji Mingxiu stared at the red booklet on the ground, looking at Ji Jiajiao in disbelief. "Jiajiao, do you know him?" Ji Jiajiao quickly shook her head, grabbed his hand, and explained urgently, "Second brother, I don't know him. He's slandering me. Hurry up and have someone drive him out. Better yet, beat him to death." "How dare you?" Ji Rulin's face flushed red with anger. Faced with such a scoundrel, he couldn't control his emotions for a moment. My voice was also filled with anger. "Forging a marriage certificate is illegal." Ji Mingxiu immediately pulled out his phone to call the police. "You trash, daring to come here and cause trouble. I'll make sure you rot in prison." Perhaps he was scared from being in prison. Zhao Tiancheng shoved the marriage certificate into the butler's hands. "I didn't forge the marriage certificate. It's real. Look." He also wanted to hand it to his father-in-law, but he couldn't reach his position, so he gave it to the butler instead. The butler glanced at it, saw the official seal and the code from the Civil Affairs Bureau, then looked at the photo and ID number on it. Trembling, he passed the marriage certificate to Ji Rulin. Ji Rulin snatched it away, saw that the contents were indeed factual, and threw the marriage certificate on the ground. "Ji Jiajiao, get over here." "Mingxiu, don't call the police yet. Our family can't afford this kind of disgrace." Ji Mingxiu's face was as cold as frost as he put away his phone. Ji Jiajiao got out of the car, her face pale, her voice as faint as a mosquito's hum. "Dad, I don't know him." "You don't know me." Zhao Tiancheng was already seething with anger. She was the one who had sought him out for marriage, and now she was denying it. What did she mean by that? Ji Mingxiu had already made up his mind to kill. "If my sister says she doesn't know you, then she doesn't know you. Get lost. No." Haha. Zhao Tiancheng laughed out loud. "Now that we've got the marriage certificate, you're denying it. Last month, we had a wild night together, and I remember that red mole on your inner thigh clearly." Ji Jiajiao slumped to the ground. Ji Mingxiu didn't go to help her up, because he knew about that mole. 2. Ji Rulin, having weathered many storms, could tell from the current situation that the marriage certificate was genuine. The villas around his home were all owned by prominent families. This matter must not reach their ears. Come inside and talk. He quickly walked in. Lu Wenmin's chest was also heaving with emotion. I supported her hand as we entered the house. Mom, don't let yourself get so worked up. Ji Mingquan and Ji Mingjie were equally incredulous. The sister they had always cherished had actually gone and married some homeless drifter. In their eyes, the kind of person who would do such a thing was someone like Xi Yuqing, an ignorant, impoverished nobody. Ji Jiajiao stared at the marriage certificate, her face filled with disbelief. She was still in a daze when she was brought into the Ji family's living room. Impossible. This isn't me. This isn't me. Zhao Tiancheng had already settled onto the sofa, picking up a banana to eat. Wife, I know what you like about me. After all, you were just as happy as I was that night. You must be reluctant to let me go. Bullshit. Ji Jiajiao pointed at him. Get out. There's no way I married you. This must be a forgery. Zhao Tiancheng didn't understand why she wouldn't admit it, but he had already guessed. After waiting at the door for several hours today, he heard she wasn't the biological daughter. She must want to marry him to get a larger share of the inheritance. She didn't want to say it so bluntly, so she kept up the act. What's done is done. She really didn't need to pretend anymore. He already understood her intentions. After all, once a woman has given herself to a man, she's his wife. No matter what, she can't run away now, which is why she's seeking to marry him. This marriage certificate is real. The butler examined it for a long time, only to sigh in the end. Go get a divorce. Lu Wenmin clutched her chest. Jiao, you've let me down so much. Go and get divorced tomorrow. Ji Jiao knelt at Lu Wenmin's feet, weeping bitterly. All right, Mom, I really don't know how I ended up getting married to him. Someone must have impersonated me to get married. Suddenly, she thought of something and pointed at me. It's you wretched woman. Was it you who drugged me and then used my ID to get married? I pointed at myself, my face a mask of innocence and pain. Jiao, this is my first time meeting my family, and my first time meeting you. How could I possibly have your photo? How could I have known you would be there, and how could I possibly know your husband? From what he said, you two are very close. He even knows about the mole on your leg. Ji Jiajiao lunged at me, trying to hit me. I quickly dodged behind Ji Mingquan. Her sharp nails scratched across his face as she clawed at him like a madwoman. You bitch, you set me up. It was you. The Ji family all thought Ji Jiajiao had lost her mind. Qingqing was right. She had no idea the Ji family even existed, and the marriage certificate was issued at noon. According to Aunt Li, Qingqing was tutoring her grandson in math at noon. How could she possibly have done such a thing? As for Qingqing, she wore a mask when she went out today. Ji Mingquan, who had been scratched by her, threw her onto the sofa, his face already covered in blood. You're insane. He grimaced in pain, his eyelids covered in nail marks, almost disfigured. Zhao Tiancheng had already opened her bag and pulled out the marriage certificate. Inside, you said you didn't know about this, so why is there a marriage certificate with my name in your bag? Everyone stared at the red booklet in his hand. It had indeed just been taken from the bag Ji Jiajiao was carrying. Ji Jiajiao seemed to remember something. She pointed at me and said, It was you. You're the one who drugged me. I covered my chest, tears welling up in my eyes. Sister, I know you don't want me back, but you can't just throw all this dirt on me. I didn't even know you before. How could I have drugged you? Ji Jiajiao. Ji Rulin's tone was as sharp as frost. After doing something so shameful, the Ji family can no longer keep you. The collaboration with the Chen family is crucial. If the Ji family were to be embroiled in any scandal at this time, the losses could amount to billions. They couldn't afford to take that risk, so Ji Jiajiao had to be sacrificed. Ji Jiajiao knelt and grabbed his leg, pleading, Dad, it really wasn't me, Dad. It was that bitch Sue Yuqing who set me up, Dad. Go check at the Civil Affairs Bureau. You'll definitely find out who went to register the marriage. Ji Rulin kicked her away. How do you explain knowing him? Ji Jiajiao told the truth, knowing that if she didn't come clean, she would truly be abandoned. Dad, last month I was in a bad mood and got drunk. I don't know how, but when I woke up, I was with him. Dad, believe me, I really had no idea what was happening. Ji Mingxiu remembered something, then looked at the disgusting homeless man again, his face turning green. I was enjoying the show, but I still maintained an innocent and pitiful appearance, so no one would ever suspect me. Dad, it might have been the Lu family's doing. Ji Mingjie suddenly spoke up. After all, she was the sister he had cherished for over a decade. How could he bear to see her truly suffer with a vagrant? Ji Mingquan gritted his teeth and also spoke up for Ji Jiajiao. That's right, Dad, it must have been the Lu family trying to ruin the G family's reputation, so they orchestrated all of this. I felt like laughing inside. In my past life, no one had spoken a single word in my defense. Zhao Tianqing started eating an apple again, even heading to the dining table to eat without any sense of propriety. Ji Mingxiu couldn't hold back any longer and pinned him to the ground, beating him fiercely. No one intervened. Zhao Tianqing spat out blood, losing several teeth in the process. He mumbled incoherently, "I've already contacted people. If I die or get injured, they'll release the video of me and Ji Jiaojiao." Ji Mingxiu froze mid-action, sitting on the ground with his head in his hands. Seeing this, Zhao Tianqing pinned him down and kicked him in his most vulnerable spot. The force of the kick was so brutal that Ji Mingxiu turned pale, clutching his groin and nearly passing out. Everyone saw there was still blood on the ground, between his legs. Ji Rulin shouted, "Call an ambulance." Zhao Tianqing took 2 steps back, swallowing hard. "It's not my fault, he hit me first. Wife, you have to speak up for me. If I go to jail, our child won't be able to take the civil service exam." The ambulance arrived quickly, and a group of people hurriedly followed it to the hospital. The emergency treatment lasted until midnight. When the doctor shook his head, "The injuries are too severe. He's still alive, but he's finished." Lu Wenmin fainted on the spot. Ji Jiaojia turned pale. Ji Mingxiu punched the wall, and Ji Mingquan, his face covered in band-aids, wished he could kill Zhao Tianqing right then and there. Ji Rulin seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. They hired a caregiver to look after the unconscious Ji Mingxiu, while the others returned home. Zhao Tianqing was still locked up in the Ji family, but he wasn't the least bit afraid of what they might do to him. After all, he still had the video of Ji Jiaojiao, and if anything happened to him, the Ji family wouldn't get off easy either. As soon as Ji Jiaojiao returned home, she burst into tears. Lu Wenmin, who had just woken up, heard her sobbing, "Cry, cry, cry. If it weren't for you, Mingxiu wouldn't have. It's all your fault, you filthy thing." Tears streamed down Ji Jiaojiao's face. I'm sorry, Mom. I should just die. If I die, he won't be able to threaten the Ji family anymore. Woo-woo." In my heart, I gave her a thumbs up. What a clever little thing. She knew they wouldn't let her die. After all these years, even raising a dog would have built some affection, let alone a daughter they've always doted on. "Let's get divorced tomorrow." After saying this, Ji Rulin quickly went upstairs. Ji Jiaojia nodded repeatedly. She would definitely go through with the divorce tomorrow. I watched all of this unfold, knowing that tomorrow was Saturday, and the Civil Affairs Bureau would be closed. Besides, this divorce wouldn't be easy to finalize. Zhao Tianqing was a lazy man, but he had a bit of brains. He knew the difference between a full meal and a full life. With such a big villa and servants to take care of him, why would he need to sleep in the park? He simply slept in his wife's soft, fragrant little bed, with a beauty in his arms and no shortage of money. Where else could he find such a life? How could he possibly divorce? Ji Mingzhi and Ji Mingquan went upstairs. Lu Wenmin also went to rest, and I returned to my own room. Although it was converted from a guest room in the Ji family, it was still bigger than the rental apartment I used to live in. I wasn't picky about it, because what I've always wanted was never just a princess's room, it was the entire Ji family. That night, each member of the Ji family harbored their own thoughts, and no one wanted to bring up the matter. Ji Jiaojiao hadn't yet figured out a solution, so she could only keep Zhao Tianqing locked up for the time being. The next day, Zhao Tianqing was confined to the storage room, while everyone else's lives went on as usual. But Ji Rulin had no intention of letting them off, for the sake of the upcoming collaboration with the Chen family. He discussed with everyone, "Next week, we'll hold a family recognition banquet, then announce the severance of ties with Jiaojiao to preserve the Ji family's reputation. After that, we'll make other plans." Everyone fell silent. Ji Jiaojiao wanted to make a scene, but she knew that if she continued, she would gain nothing, so she could only nod obediently. Striving to secure the greatest benefit for herself, Ji Rulin breathed a sigh of relief. "Then it's settled, you two will go get divorced on Monday." Yes, I didn't say a word, because I knew it was impossible to get a divorce. Zhao Tianqing kept shouting in the storage room every day. When Monday came and he was asked to go through with the divorce, he refused, saying he would only agree for 100 million. Everyone was at a loss with him. I don't know what Ji Jiaojiao said to him, but that evening, she found me while I was reading and made me a cup of coffee. "Sister, there's no need for us to be so hostile. We can still be good sisters in the future. Here, I made you this coffee." "I don't like coffee." A weasel giving New Year's greetings to a chicken. I could already guess what she was up to. However, she did give herself a rather measured way of getting back at me, but since it was brewed by my sister herself, I can't let it go to waste. How about this? We each drink half, and toast to our sisterly bond. Ji Jiaojiao hesitated for a moment upon hearing this, but then As if remembering something, she nodded and said, "All right." She poured 2 cups, and I looked at her. "You drink first. Let's drink together. Cheers." I found it somewhat amusing. This person really had no brains to have lost to someone like this in my past life. I took a sip, then sat on the chair and, turning my back to her, spat it into the trash can. I moved quickly, so Ji Jiaojia didn't notice. Then, "Sister, you go ahead and do your thing. I'll go to sleep first." She drank it, and now she's going to find second brother. I nodded. Ji Jiaojia first went to find Zhao Tianqiang, asking him to come to my room, but Zhao Tianqiang suddenly changed his mind. "I've already married you. I don't want any other woman." Ji Jiaojia immediately grew furious. "I've told you it wasn't me who married you. As long as you sleep with the real heiress, won't you have all the money you need?" In her panic, she ran to the living room, grabbed a dagger, and pointed it at him. "It wasn't me who married you. You'd better listen to me. We're getting a divorce. Divorce is fine." Zhao Tianqiang looked at her. "But I want 20% of the Ji family's shares. What kind of dream are you having?" Ji Jiaojia really wanted to kill him, but if she got married later, she would be a divorcee, and marrying into a prominent family would be impossible. Zhao Tianqiang sat back down on the ground. "Then there's nothing to discuss." She took a deep breath. "I'll give you 1 million. Listen to me now." Zhao Tianqiang smiled. 1 billion. Ji Jiaojia was on the verge of losing her composure. "Where would I get that much money?" Zhao Tianqiang chuckled. "You don't have it, but the Ji family does. Tomorrow, you'll testify that the person you married wasn't me." Zhao Tianqiang remained as arrogant as ever. "Give me 1 billion. You." Ji Jiaojia was almost beyond caring. She just wanted to kill him. Zhao Tianqiang moved closer to her. "If you kill me, all sorts of photos and videos of you, my dear wife, will be known to the entire internet tomorrow." Ji Jiaojia pointed the knife at him. "Don't come any closer." Zhao Tianqiang snatched the knife from her hand and pulled her into his arms. "Woman, you smell so good." Ji Jiaojia wanted to struggle, but Zhao Tianqiang had tied her hands, leaving her unable to escape. On top of that, the drug she had intended for me was now in her own system, making her even more unable to control herself. I heard the entire scene from the doorway. I have to say, Ji Jiaojia is both foolish and wicked. While Zhao Tianqiang is the kind of person who has no shame and no regard for his own life. Listening to the sounds coming from inside, a faint smile touched the corners of my lips. Lu Wenmin's cat had gone missing. Whenever she felt upset, she liked to hold her cat and talk to it. The kitten had run out earlier and hadn't returned, so she was growing worried. She ran into Ji Mingzhi, who had come downstairs for a drink of water. "Xiaobai is missing. Could you help me look for her?" "Okay." I happened to go downstairs as well, and she asked me to help search too. This little cat has been with her for 8 years, and she's very attached to it. She's in a bad mood today and needs it even more. Ji Mingzhi walked to the door of the storage room and heard noises inside. Thinking it was Xiaobai causing trouble, he opened the door and froze in shock. I also walked over, and Lu Wenmin, hearing the commotion, came over as well. Seeing a naked man and woman entangled together, she fainted on the spot. Ji Mingzhi was at a loss for words. I screamed and ran away. Hearing the noise, the servants of the Ji family, thinking something had happened, all rushed over, seeing the two of them frantically pulling at their clothes to cover themselves. Many people were left speechless. Ji Rulin ordered the butler, drag them away and beat them to death. "Dad," Ji Mingzhi shook his head. Killing someone in front of so many people would inevitably lead to rumors spreading. Ji Rulin no longer held any paternal affection for Ji Jiaojia. She truly made one feel disgusted to the point of nausea. Ji Jiaojia crawled over to grab Ji Mingzhi's pant leg, crying that she hadn't acted willingly, but he had just witnessed her earlier behavior. He kicked her away with his foot. "From now on, you are no longer a member of the Ji family. I have only Qingqing as my sister." The housekeeper sighed, draping a bath towel over Ji Jiaojia. "You all take the young, take her back to her room." Several maids took Ji Jiaojia away to clean her up. Ji Mingzhi looked at Zhao Tianqiang. "I will give you a sum of money to leave, unless you give me 100 million. I'm not leaving." Ji Mingzhi's eyes darkened. "Fine, I'll go deposit the money now." He turned and walked out of the house. Zhao Tianqiang was overjoyed, never expecting he'd have such incredible luck. 100 million, enough for him to live lavishly for the rest of his life. And once it's spent, you could always come back for more. Haha. He's kept those videos, and he's also told Xiaohu that if he doesn't contact him for more than 3 days, he'll post the videos all over the internet. He wasn't the least bit afraid of them coming after him late at night. Zhao Tianqiang was still dreaming of striking it rich overnight when Ji Mingzhi returned, dragging a large suitcase. "Let's go. Once we leave the Ji family, I'll give you the money." Zhao Tianqiang glanced at the suitcase, and Ji Mingzhi opened it to reveal it was filled with Bright red banknotes. Zhao Tianqing immediately followed him away, practically tripping over his own feet in eagerness. Once in the car, Zhao Tianqing sprawled out like a boss. Ji Jiaojia tasted really good. Ji Mingzhi thought of the sister he had cherished for 18 years, then of his brother still lying in the hospital, and clenched his fists, taking Zhao Tianqing to the outskirts. As soon as Zhao Tianqing got out of the car, he was grabbed by several people. It was then that he noticed another car behind him. Those people were wearing masks. Ji Mingzhi looked at him and said, "Zhao Tianqing, you deserve to die." After saying that, he kicked him hard in his most vulnerable spot. Zhao Tianqing was restrained and unable to move. Forced to endure the painful kicks, he kept kicking Zhao Tianqing until he was beaten unconscious, then had him doused with water to wake him up, only to continue the brutal assault. Zhao Tianqing remained conscious, enduring every moment of his slow, agonizing death. He watched as his hands and legs were severed one by one, screaming in unbearable pain. It was already the next morning by the time he was finally tortured to death. After cleaning up the traces here, Ji Mingzhi returned to the Ji family. Unbeknownst to him, all of this was captured by a hidden camera in the car. Early in the morning, I cooked porridge for the Ji parents and sat on the sofa browsing my beauty blogger account. Fans were urging for updates, but I had no intention of posting anymore. After all, I no longer lacked money. What mattered now was to work even harder to secure my place in the Ji family and learn how to manage the company. After drinking the porridge, the Ji parents praised me as a good child. When Ji Mingzhi returned, I went to the parking lot, took down the 2 cameras from above, and hid them. Just as I returned to the living room, Ji Jiaojia woke up. She looked utterly dejected, and seeing me only made her angrier. She picked up a teacup and started throwing it at me. "You wretch, it's all your fault, all of it. Why did you have to come back? Even if I wanted to appear weak, I wouldn't let myself get hurt." So, by the time Ji's parents came downstairs, she was still throwing things around like a madwoman. "Ji Jiaojiao," Ji Rulin roared angrily. "Old Lu, lock Ji Jiaojiao up. Without my permission, she is not allowed to leave the Ji family half a step." Yes. Ji Jiaojiao was still cursing me, while Ji Rulin sat across from me. "Tomorrow, we will invite celebrities from all walks of life to attend the family recognition banquet. I will announce that you are the only daughter of the Ji family." He already knew what Mingzhi had done. If what that beggar said was true, Ji Jiaojiao was already a useless pawn. If he didn't abandon her, the entire Ji family would be dragged into hell. I obediently nodded. "I'll listen to you." He was very satisfied with my performance, especially since I was a student at the country's top university. He had even checked and found out that I entered Tsinghua University as the top scorer in the province, which made me even more valuable. Ji Jiaojiao stopped in her tracks at the staircase upon hearing his words. His only daughter, then what about her? She looked at her mother, but her mother gazed back at her with disgust, while her father's eyes seemed to wish her dead. "Is this the home she has lived in for 18 years? I will send Ji Jiaojiao abroad tomorrow." "Yes." I nodded. Ji Jiaojiao was incredulous, but whatever she wanted to say was muffled by Uncle Lu, who covered her mouth and dragged her upstairs to be locked away. Lu Wenmin held my hand. "My precious daughter, you've suffered all these years, as expected of my child, so well-mannered and refined, unlike some filthy things, truly a dirty seed." I remained silent, just leaning on her shoulder. In my past life, she never said such things. Tomorrow, the family recognition banquet. Ji Jiaojiao won't let this go easily. The next day, indeed, many dignitaries and prominent figures had arrived. Ji Mingxiu was still in the hospital, and the Ji family claimed he had gone abroad for work. Ji Mingquan didn't show up either. He had been scratched into a mess and wasn't fit to be seen. Ji Mingzhi had been the one entertaining the guests all along. "Mr. Chen, long time no see." Ji Mingzhi greeted Chen Jian. Chen Jian, however, was scanning the crowd for someone, his handsome face etched with indifference. "I heard your newly recognized sister is named Siyu Qing." Ji Mingzhi understood in his heart. The appearance of Yuan Master Chen, who never liked attending banquets, was truly for me. He replied with a smile. "Yes, Qing also mentioned she's your classmate. Both of you are in the finance department at Tsinghua University." "Oh, what exactly did she say?" Chen Jian raised a sharp eyebrow. "She said she has some connection with you." Connection? Chen Jian thought of the girl who always tried to outdo him in exams. There is indeed some connection, though. Perhaps it's more of a rivalry. "My sister is here, Yuan Master Chen. You can talk to her." Ji Mingzhi pointed at me coming down the stairs, knowing the business between the Chen and Ji families was about to succeed, his smile stretching all the way to the back of his head. Chen Jian walked over, and when I saw him, my grip on Lu Wenmin's hand tightened. This jinx actually showed up. I hope he doesn't cause any trouble. Ji Rulin led me onto the stage and introduced me to the crowd. "Yu Qing is my proudest daughter, and the Ji family has only this one daughter. I heard Miss Yuqing was the top scorer in the province. Exactly, both Peking University and Tsinghua University were fighting over her back then. Truly a member of the Ji family, both intelligent and beautiful. Chen Jian simply stared at me intently. He had never seen me like this before. At school, I wore black-framed glasses, dressed in casual clothes all year round, with heavy bangs covering most of my forehead, utterly unremarkable, but at this moment, I was wearing a blue diamond-studded gown, with sparkling stars scattered across it, like a fairy descending to the mortal world. My exceptionally beautiful face wore a smile, and on my head sat a silver crown, my long hair cascading like a waterfall down to my waist. After Ji Rulin finished speaking, the crowd burst into applause. Just then, the large screen behind suddenly played a terrifying scene. It was none other than the video of Ji Mingzhi killing Zhao Tinxiang. Oh my god, what's happening? The eldest son of the Ji family has killed someone. How brutal. At that moment, the police also arrived and apprehended the stunned Ji Mingzhi. Ji Jiajiao walked out laughing heartily. Don't even think about sending me away. I'm not going anywhere. I am the Yen lady of the Ji family. You, Lu Wenmin fainted once again, watching her eldest son being taken away. Ji Rulin clutched her chest and collapsed straight to the ground. I helped Uncle Lu quickly deal with the remaining matters, while Ji Jiajiao went mad, seemingly triggered by something, constantly claiming to be the Yen lady of the Ji family, crying and laughing hysterically. Chen Jian walked up to me, crouched down, and curled the corner of his mouth. You might need my help. I glanced at him, picked up the flower on the ground, and asked, will you help me? A man should be used when he's useful, and discarded when he's not. Of course. He lifted my chin. I've been wondering how to make you yield since you have no weaknesses. I never thought one would just fall into my lap. We've been competing for a year now, all because on the basketball court, he threw a ball that hit me, and I picked it up and threw it back. That's how our friendship started. He's always been second best, never quite matching up to me in studies or anything else. Now he has finally found a way to deal with me. So naturally he will take action. Then I'll thank Yen Master Chen in advance. If the Ji family were to die, it would bring me no benefit, as this is my property after all. The Ji family's recognition banquet made it to the trending searches, and Ji Mingzhi was sentenced to death with a 2-year reprieve for intentional homicide with cruel methods, and not 2 days later, a scandalous video of the Ji family's adopted daughter was exposed. The Ji family's stocks plummeted, and contracts that had expired were abandoned one after another. After Ji Mingzhi was disowned, he fell into deep depression and attempted suicide several times. Ji Rulin was diagnosed with a myocardial infarction and had already collapsed. Ji Mingquan took over the company, but he had always been frivolous and knew nothing about these matters, so I took action, helping the company come back to life while attending school. I cleared up the matter with Ji Jiajiao, but Ji Mingzhi's issues couldn't be whitewashed. Still, it didn't matter. Bad publicity is still publicity, and if used well, it could be useful. I worked harder than anyone else. Under my step-by-step control, I gained a voice within the Ji family's company. Lu Wenmin didn't want to die. She came to me, asking me to donate bone marrow. I agreed, because I knew she wouldn't live long enough for me to donate. Ji Mingquan had been in a car accident and died on the spot. It was a drunk driving incident. Late at night, he crashed into a large tree. By the time he was found, his body had already gone stiff. Lu Wenmin couldn't withstand the blow and was so enraged that she became paralyzed. The shares of the 3 sons of the Ji family all fell into my hands. By the time Ji Rulin woke up, the Ji group had already undergone a drastic change. Because I had secured the cooperation with the Chen family, driving the group's market value to its peak, he could only grasp my hand, transfer all his shares to me, and beg me to save the Ji group. I accepted with a smile. What he didn't know was that I had been dosing his medicine every day, which was why his paralysis had grown increasingly severe. On the day he was about to die, he called me to the hospital room, saying, I trust you with the Ji family business. I leaned closer to him. You can rest assured, because I've been planning this for a long time. It won't slip away. As for you, you can die now. Hearing my words, he died with his eyes wide open, but I felt nothing but satisfaction. Lu Wenmin also died, but before she passed, she stared at me. It can't be like this. It can't be. You're a ghost. I leaned close to her ear and whispered softly, go in peace. I've been cooking porridge for you for so long. It couldn't have been clean. May you die early and be reborn soon. She, too, died with her eyes wide open, and Ji Mingzhi was the last of the Ji family to survive. On the day he slit his wrists, he called me over, lying in the bathtub. With his last breath, he said, I know you've come back. You blame us. I pressed his hand into the water. You can go die now. Talk less. Focus on dying. After all, if I were a useless waste like you, I would have long given up on living. He stared at me in terror, his eyes wide open in death. My mood was excellent, because the entire G family now belonged to me. By the time I graduated from university, I was already the executive president of the G Corporation. I went to see Ji Jiaojiao. She lives in a psychiatric hospital. And I also cover her hospitalization fees. How did she go mad? Probably from watching the video of Zhao Tinqiang's gruesome death. It scared her insane, or perhaps it was that one pill I gave her. I still feel a bit regretful. Zhao Tinqiang died too early. He should have beaten Ji Jiaojiao a few times, so she could understand what kind of life I lived in my past life. As for Qin Jian, on graduation day, he confessed his feelings to me. I laughed and said, "Let's talk about it when you surpass me." He immediately lit up with determination. All right, I gazed at the sunset, thinking that if I had foreseen everything in my past life, I could have turned things around too, but by the time I realized it, I was already crushed under the weight of capital, and no matter how hard I struggled, it was useless. In my past life, someone like Qin Jian would never have intervened, even if he had discovered something, because by then I had already lost. What he admired was the woman who would never be defeated by him. Therefore, he could never surpass me in this lifetime. As long as he doesn't surpass me, I can control him. A little man like him is easy to placate. If I were to live a second life and still endure humiliation, still be at the mercy of others, then this chance at rebirth might as well be given to someone who truly needs it. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.